Good evening. The news summary for this Monday, the 18th of August. In a ceremony this morning at the Election Commission, the Chief Registration Officer certified the voter register after all the procedures were completed. The Chief Registration Officer also presented the register to the Chief of the electoral, the chief, also, I'll read this again. In a morning ceremony at the Election Commission, the Chief Registration Officer certified the voter register after all registration procedures were completed. The Chief Registration Officer also presented the register to the Chief Electoral Officer. During the ceremony, the Election Commission also presented the figures recorded during the verification process that began in January this year. The chairman of the Electoral Commission, in her address, said that the certification of the voter register does not mark the end of this stage of work, but rather indicates that the Commission is ready for the next stage in the electoral calendar. Patrick Dice is no longer the La Liberté Party's candidate as vice president in the upcoming election. This comes after the party realized that Mr. Dice is not on the official voters list. It should be noted that every candidate in any election, whether presidential or legislative, must be registered in the official voters register. He is now being replaced by Alan Dougley. Previously, the party had nominated Mr. Dougley as the legislative candidate for the Ansopin district. The party's leader, who is also running for president, Vincent Padeashi, acknowledged that their party should have conducted all due diligence and does not blame anyone for this inconvenience. The Court of Appeal this morning delivered its verdict in 8 cases. Initially, there were 13 cases, but 5 were withdrawn before their hearing. The President of the Court of Appeal, Antoni Fernando, announced that all cases whose files were recently compiled will be postponed to the December session.
There has been a slight increase in the filing of appeals since the last 2 sessions, but it is and has always been my vision to dispose of any appeal within 6 months of filing, bearing in mind the Court of Appeal sits only 3 times a year. To achieve this objective, I need the cooperation of my sister and brother justices, the bar and the staff, both at the Supreme Court and the Court of Appeal. We continue to need to have the support of the executive and the legislature without being under obligation to them for the efficient functioning of the Court of Appeal, as we are not financially autonomous. They need to be conscious that an independent, impartial, and efficient judiciary is a sine qua non for the proper functioning of any government. The provisional list of the appeal cases to be heard during the December 2025 session was sent out on the 13th of August to all lawyers and litigants who had filed appeals, and I believe all of you are in receipt of it by now. I kindly ask you to go through the provisional list of cases early and, where possible, keep the registry informed of any appeals that are likely to be withdrawn or where consent judgments are likely to be filed. There would then be no need to prepare the appeal briefs, which is time-consuming and at an expense to the government. The registry has recently been informed by the attorney representing the appellant that one of the civil appeals filed will be withdrawn, and this brings down the provisional list to 18 appeal cases.
26 employees from the Department of Foreign Affairs have been honored for their long service, ranging from 10 to 40 years, not only within the department, but also across the wider public service sector. The ceremony took place on a Saturday evening at the Costa Cefilia Resort and Spa. Among those recognized was Lorna Lau Hong, who holds the distinction of the longest service, an impressive 40 years. She attributed her achievement to her deep passion for the job, which she says has kept her motivated throughout the years. President Weva Ramkalawan, the First Lady, Linda Ramkalawan, and the Chief Secretary of the Public Service, Sheila Muhyiddin, were amongst those present at the ceremony. And with this, we end this news summary. We'll be back at 8 with the news in Creole. Next on SBC is a local program, Coin Tapis.